Hello and welcome. My name is Denise Childs and I will be your instructor for INTP 102. Now, INTP is an interdisciplinary anatomy and physiology course for healthcare professionals. So this includes the pharmacy technicians, the occupational therapist assistants, and also the sonogram. We will be meeting Tuesday and Thursday from 3 to 5 o'clock. I do give you a break halfway through, but make sure you bring snacks if that's your sleepy time. And we're in room 2901B. Now, that is on the trades end of the farthest campus, farthest away from Gary Harris. And it's on the second floor. So the easiest thing to do is to find the Patch restaurant and then go up the stairs to the second floor. So today what I want to do is just a brief introduction to introduce me, to tell you about Blackboard, how to get on it, and how do you find a resource drive, and then talk about the textbook and get you a little prepared for your first day of class, which is Thursday. So first off, about me. I have been with Red Deer Polytechnic for, I'm going into my 15th year, and before that I taught high school for 20 years. So I'm actually in my 35th year of teaching. I know, I don't look that old, but I am. And I grew up in Red Deer, and then I moved away, and 15 years ago my parents were getting old, so I moved back to Red Deer again. And you will hear about my parents because they have a few health issues, and nothing teaches anatomy and physiology like pathophysiology, which is when things go wrong. So first off, let's look at how to get into Blackboard. Now, the easiest way to get into Blackboard is to use Google Chrome. Now, initially the best thing to do is just to Google Red Deer Polytechnic, and then you will get into the logins, and then you go to My RDP, and then you have to log in and do the face thing. Then once you have it all authenticated, you get to a page like this. These are cards. This is really quite confusing, but when you, oh, they've moved it again. Blackboard is right here, Blackboard. Now, the best thing to do to make it easier is to actually put it on a bookmark. So if you go up to the top of this page, you will see the address, and then go all the way to the side, which of course isn't on the screen, and click the star button. Now, there will be a bunch of things on the left-hand toolbar here. Most of them are of very little use other than the course section. Now, there is an app for the Blackboard. Do not use it. I can't control it. It randomly does the math, and it is not accessible, and it will lead you wrong. So when you go to courses, you then will click through, and you will choose, you are section A, which is in my upcoming course, my current courses. There we go. Section A down here, and if you want to move it up farther, you just click on the star, and now section A is right here, and you are section A. When you click on that, you will open it up, and you will see what I call the left-hand toolbar of Blackboard. There'll be an announcement here where I've given you some daily instructions, and then as you go through, there's my grades, which we don't have anything on yet because we haven't written anything. Blackboard help is kind of confusing. The best thing to do is ask the librarians. Then there is Lockdown Browser, which we'll talk about later because you need that to write tests. Then Start Here is where I want you to start. So if you go to Start Here, you will see there's a little introduction for me. There is, the best thing here is to email me at rdpolytechnic. That is the way to get a hold of me. Don't use Blackboard Messenger. Red Deer Polytechnic email goes right to my phone. Then if you continue down, you will see there's more information. Check your browser is an important one. Please realize that Blackboard works better on Google Chrome. So use Google Chrome. And then there's a little information on netiquette and planning and that stuff you can read later. Then the second thing I want you to look at is the course outline, schedule, and references. Now we'll go through this in class because the course outline is very important in terms of what is the policies that need to go in terms of attendance and in terms of scheduling and grade allocation, stuff like that. So we'll look at that in class. If you want, here's a link. You can print it off. Then when it comes to the textbook we look at is called the Understanding Anatomy and Physiology, and it is the 4th edition. That textbook, let me show you, that textbook is brand new. It is the 2025 edition. It is available in the bookstore. You can also get some older versions. Let me take a second and show you what the older versions look like. So here is what the current textbook looks like. And so this is the 4th edition. The old textbook is the 3rd edition. It looks like this. The old textbook has similar information, but the page references will be all different. So if that will make you crazy, get the new textbook. The old one can probably be found on Facebook. There is an RDP Facebook page, RDP textbook Facebook page where you can buy this cheaper, but the pages will be different, where if you want, spend the $120 some odd from the bookstore and then you can sell it online next year and probably get $100 for it because it is a current one. Okay, so as I said, here is the textbook. There are resources that come with the textbook. The textbook can also be purchased a digital copy. I'm not sure if that can be done through the bookstore. If not, you can do it through Amazon. The class schedule is here, and if you see, we pretty much every color is a different unit. So there are 10 units, 10 quizzes, no final exam, and the unit quizzes are written on the weekend from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. on Monday, and that's the writing window. The test itself will take less than an hour, but this is the time you will write them, and they'll be written with what's called Lockdown Browser, which I'll talk about a little more in class or a little later. So here is the schedule. You will see that we have 2 days without class, September the 30th and Remembrance Day. So as a result, we are short 2 periods, which makes this material go by really fast. Each unit is 2 or 3 chapters and it is 2 or 3 days. So very important you keep up, but let me show you how you can keep up and what I've done to help you. So that is the schedule here. We'll talk a little bit more about it in class. Now, I have put resources on what I call a resource drive. Now, the resource drive is best if you have a Google account. If you don't have a Google account, here it tells you how to get a Google account. And it is best if you set up a Google account just for school. Don't use your private personal Google account if you have one, because it's nice just to have school material on it. And then it can be linked to your phone right where the other accounts are, so you can see it quite easily. You can see your email quite easily. You can also do your RDP email right on your phone. Okay, so on your Google Drive is where I put resources. So you have the course outline that we will talk about in class. Here is your schedule if you want a printable copy. Now, anytime you want to make your own copy, you do not ask for sharing. You just go and you can download it on the side. So file, download is what you want to do, and it will download for you, I hope. And if not, if you're looking at the in-class resources, in the in-class resources, I have something that makes up a reading guide, and it is for each unit. So each unit has a document. Now this document can be used in a couple of ways. First off, make your own copy. So you do that by going to the top, going File, then you go Download, and if you put it as a Microsoft Word program, you can put it on your own computer. You can either type right into it, or if you're old school, you can put lots of spaces in it and then write on it old school. Whatever works for your learning strategy. And you'll see in this course, I talk about a lot of different learning strategies in order to work through it. So this is the learning guide, the reading guide. It has, I usually start each day with some announcements and expectations, what I'm going to talk about. And then I go into the document that, what we're doing each day. And this learning guide is for the first unit, which is the first 3 chapters, which is the first 3 days. So yes, it is fast, but we will talk about it more in class. Good. So the next thing I want to look at is the Unit 1. So Unit 1, as I said, is 3 days. Here is an introduction. Notice I've got it broken down into Chapter 1 and Chapter 2 and Chapter 3. Once you look at the Blackboard page, you'll see these are the learning outcomes, which are these, everything you need to know. Here's a little bit of required reading and some supplemental videos if you wish to know about them. Then, as I said, there is 10 quizzes, and the quizzes are pretty much every weekend starting the weekend of the 12th, and they are found in this area here. And there is a practice lockdown one already ready, but make sure you go through the lockdown browser information first. So as I said, things I wanted to discuss today. Let's see. Oh, I got to move that again. We've already talked about Blackboard. We've discussed the resource drive. We talked about the textbook, and the textbook information can be found in the bookstore. And let me show you how to load the bookstore information. So the easiest way to get to the bookstore is RDP Bookstore. It can be found in other ways, but you're going in crazy circles. So when you go to the bookstore, you will notice that it's go shopping, start shopping, and then at the very top, you will see where it says textbooks. And this will tell you what your textbooks are. So you select the fall term, and this is class INTP, and it is, INTP stands for interdisciplinary, and then it's course 1102, section A, and then to find the materials, you click here, and you will see this is the textbook, okay? Now, if you want to check on other sources, the ISBN number is the way to find out. And again, 4th edition is very important if you want your page numbers to match my page numbers. If you just want to go by titles, old versions will work, but make sure it is the one by Thompson, because there's a bunch of different anatomy and textbook, anatomy and physiology textbooks there. Now, if you want to go used, there is, on Facebook, there is an RDP textbook page, and you can look at that. Okay, so we've talked about everything that needs to be talked about, or that I wanted to talk about today. So I will see you on Thursday. So for your first class, please get on Blackboard. Also, set up your Google account, just for Red Deer Polytechnic. And then download the reading guide through the resource drive. Find a textbook. And if you have time, because next week will be pretty crazy, you can either start scanning the textbook and fill in the reading guide, or another thing you may want to look at is the lockdown browser. And the lockdown browser is the way to, actually I got a few seconds, so let's just pop into the lockdown browser information. The lockdown browser information is found here. And when you look at the lockdown browser information, there is a program you need to download. Now you go to the library and you download depending on what text or what your resources are. So if you have a Chromebook, read this part on Chromebooks. If you have Windows, you click on the Windows one. And if you have Mac, you do the Mac one and go through and follow the instructions. That doesn't need to be done until the 12th, and we'll talk about it next week in class if you are a little overwhelmed. But beware that the first week of class is pretty overwhelming with all the newness, so that you can start now if you're ready. So that is pretty much it. I will see you Thursday at 3 o'clock, and between 3 and 5 is usually not your smartest time, so make sure you have water and snacks. And we're upstairs on the far end, the east end of RDP. Find the Patch Restaurant and go up, and we're in classroom B. Good. That's it. All the best with your week until I see you on Thursday. Take care.